Today's speaker is Peter Feigin, president of the Milwaukee Bucks since October of 2014, who will tell us about the rebuild of the Milwaukee Bucks. Since becoming president, he has completely reimagined, rebuilt, and re-energized the team's business of operations. This has resulted in substantial increases in attendance, ticket revenue, merchandise revenue, partnership sales, and TV viewership. He has assembled a top-flight management team and instilled a new corporate culture marked by accountability, collaboration, and fun. He has worked to ensure that this historic project will be a catalyst in the economic development of both the city of Milwaukee and the state of Wisconsin. I personally do a lot of work with the Milwaukee Bucks and want to also mention that their reach and their support of young people around the state is certainly equally as noteworthy, and we are fortunate to have them. So thank you for that. We look forward to your presentation, and our club has made a contribution to the Rotary International Polio Plus Fund to thank you for speaking today. As we welcome Peter to the podium, I want to remind you that if time permits, we will have questions, and to please wait till a microphone gets to you to answer or to ask the question, because we're filming and we want to make sure that the question is heard. So let's please welcome Peter to the podium.
So thank you for reading my mother's bio of me, which is very nice. I do have to tell you, I've done a few hundred Rotary conversations around the state of Wisconsin. I don't know if you know what you have here, but this is much different. This is, I think this is a setup, just so you know. I kind of gulped when we started to sing, and then we're honoring the Alderwoman. And it only gets better with my new chief operating officer, your head of member development, which is, I mean, whoa. So lower your expectations for my speaking right now. Lower them. It will not be good, I promise you. You've gotten much better entertainment. So you'll learn this really quickly. I am a sales and marketing guy. I am not from the Midwest. I am faking Midwestern sensibilities because I have like a dirty mouth sometimes. I talk really fast and I'm aggressive. I twitch, I grunt, everything you could imagine. But we will try to pound in 10 pounds of information in 5 pounds of time if we can get that done. Because what I really want to do is show you what we're doing and what we're getting here. And really the call to action is, this is our state team. I want to start it with what we call our sizzle reel. And then I'm just going to take you through some pictures and show you what we're doing in downtown Milwaukee and how we're really transforming this city and transforming this team, and tell you a little story about how we got here. So let's roll the first video. Oh, extrasensory, wow, aspirational, inspirational. But it's much easier talking to a group from Madison to talk about what the real objectives are. It is, how do we make the state's largest city a real desirable destination and make it sticky, make it where people want to stay there for a period of time, where people want to go. I mean, one of the interesting things about this development is 30% of it is about Bucks basketball. 70% of it is about other entertainment, other experiences. How do we get people down? How do we create a cultural center where people stay, where people from Madison feel great, safe, clean, and happy, and have a value proposition that they really want to come back downtown to Milwaukee, which has been a long time since they've done it. And specifically, I've talked to about 40 of you here. If one other person tells me, I haven't been to a Bucks game in 10 years, I'm going to punch him in the nose. So, yeah, I've just had enough. Just lie to me. Say it's been 5 years and you're ready to come back. You're ready to come back. So let me flip through some pictures and some slides here. We can go through. I think I have my clicker. We have a really simple mission statement. I sound like our owners now. I'll give you a quick 5-second glimpse of our owners. All three of these guys are maniacal, great partners, unbelievable bosses, and they're at times pleased but never satisfied. Ever, ever, ever. Which is fun if you're into that, to work for a person. You'd like a timeout every once in a while, but it is fun. And it really is for us. The aspirations are not local in Milwaukee. They're not statewide in Wisconsin. They're not regional in the Midwest. They're worldwide. It's like, how do we build the best of class? How do we build an organization that's built on service? And how do we become the most successful and respected sports entertainment company in the world? The high bar is the world. I want to tell you a little bit about the NBA because we get all drifted. We're in the green and gold world. Everybody puts on their jerseys on Thursdays, maybe takes them off on Tuesdays, never washes them for 16 weeks. They get it, but basketball is about the world. Basketball has about 100 international players, almost a third of it. 50% of our followers on television and on media are from the outside the U.S., and we broadcast in 215 nations. Why do I say that? Because the importance is we represent the state in that broadcast mode. We are the flag that gives awareness to the world of the state of Wisconsin. I know it sounds crazy, but it's true, and it really is a state. Where we are in social, we've got millions of people following us on a daily basis. It is a strong brand, only getting stronger. We got to talk about the development. Now, if anybody's familiar, if you go to the top of the screen, the street that you can barely see cut off is McKinley. The street between the arena and the Park East is Juneau. And this is a 30-acre area, including the Bradley Center, which will be demolished 6 months after the opening of this new arena, that literally was nothing. Brownfields was the highway. If you remember, 15 years ago, was a highway that was ripped down, never replaced, never developed. It is the entranceway off the north and south to the city, which we have dedicated ourselves to and started to redevelop as the entranceway to the city and the entranceway to where thousands of people will come congregate. They will live, they will work, and they will play. Up at the practice facility, on the very western part of it, that is under construction now. We announced last week that we will also have a medical office clinic and building attached to that, which is 40,000 square feet. That will be done all by the end of next summer. The next block number 7, is a parking structure which will house 1,250 spots, have a sky bridge to the arena. That will be done next November. The 2 preceding blocks as you go east towards the river right now are staging areas for construction and parking for this year's events and next year's events for the Bradley Center, and will be development. And then the Bradley Center south of the arena will also be an opportunity for development around. Now, the interesting thing is you see arena proper is the mall area across 4th Street and the public plaza. We want to create a destination. We want to create people where people congregate and aggregate, not just for events, but actually have events on that plaza. You can kind of see, nobody has ever seen this. So this is your first public view conceptually of what the outside of the arena and entertainment block could look like. That is mocked up with the ability to have an anchor smaller entertainment center on the left. As you go towards the center, you could imagine a boutique hotel with another kind of entertainment and food and beverage. But you're seeing the concept of, if you've been to downtown Milwaukee, this kind of breaks the mold with keeping sensible, with keeping populated, and really is kind of shows you kind of vision-wise what we're thinking about. This is the arena. Now again, this is a patinaed zinc around the outside of it. It's actually metal. Some people think it's wood. It's bowed over. The arc of it in Juneau is such that when you walk down Juneau Street, you actually can look up into the arena. Transparency is one of the biggest things about this arena. There's glass everywhere. You can see in and you can see out throughout most of it. When you're seeing on the left side of the screen is the public plaza, which we just showed you kind of mock-ups of what that would look like. You look at the concourses, again, open, free, transparent. This is an open concourse arena. So as you walk through this arena, you'll actually be able to see, look, smell, and hear the activity. So when you go through the Cole Center or you go through the Current Bradley Center, you actually enter and exit through vomitories, which kind of take you away from the action. Like you literally are separated to the concession area. This whole thing is open. So you can actually, the world today is about people socializing and sitting around and having a drink, whether they're at their seats or at the concourse to watch the game. Really quick schematic about the arena and put into comparison. The Current Bradley Center is a little bit over 19,000 people. 6,000 people are in the lower level. 12,000 people are in the upper level and 1,000 people are around the suites. This kind of breaks that mold. This is 10,000 down low. This is 5,000 down up and about 1,500 in the suite level. So this is about getting close to the action. This is designed to be a unbelievable basketball venue, a phenomenal concert, family show, rodeo venue you can imagine, kind of with all the modern technologies and efficiencies you can imagine to entice people, shows, to come back to Wisconsin. Because like it or not, we've actually been skipped over for about a decade of all types of concerts. And we've been skipped over to go to Indianapolis, to go to Minnesota, which is not good. And we're going to reinvent bringing those shows back to the state of Wisconsin. This shows you, again, that McKinley slide. This is the medical office building to the far right with our practice facility. You can see the nice solar panels. I point those out because the bird and the solar people always get very upset at me, so I want to make sure if you're there, we're cognizant of it. This is an interior of our training facility. Again, it's almost like you'll see very clean lines, simplicity, really best of class and show. This gives you the interiors. Nobody has seen this. Our players haven't even seen this yet of like what the players area looks like in the training facility. We might even make our own little barber shop, which you laugh about, but these players like live, eat, sleep at your practice facility. You want them at the practice facility so they're not by themselves in their apartments like in the afternoon. We want to make it like a home, and a barbershop is one of those ways you do that, interestingly enough. Talk about our courts, the way it's set up, which is fantastic. A lot of Madison folks were using J.P. Cullen to build this, done a lot of the University of Wisconsin's athletic facilities. I mean, there's no better company helping us build that. So I wanted to take you through kind of the vision, the real estate and everything, and then really just tell you the story. The story is very, very simple. We purchased a team from Senator Cole. It's a 50-year-old team that we are treating it like a startup. So we have really ripped it down to its studs, really want to keep the equity of the legacy of the great history of this team, leverage it against the promise of the future. By the way, we have to win. We have to win, just so you know that. We get it. To invest in winning, but really make it one of the best experiences and value propositions we can in entertainment. So win or lose, and you have a competitive team, you actually want to come back to your experience. And that means everything from clean bathrooms to warm food to no parking hassles to the basics. I know everybody sits here and goes like, well, of course, but that wasn't the fact for a long time. We've lost a generation of fans. We have lost like the interest. We are the NBA team of the state. We have a great history. We're one of 13 teams that have an NBA championship. And what we've done is been a little dormant over the last decade, which is real tough for any entertainment venue, especially a sports team. And what we've got to do is re-engage fans. We've got to re-engage. Everybody asks me, like, what's your most important demo? Well, unfortunately, it's every demo because they all mean for the future. I need your kids and your grandkids to experience their first game at a Bucks game because I know they'll be Bucks fans forever. I need your young professional kids to use their disposable income for entertainment, to go to a Bucks game so they get acclimated to it. I need you guys to bring your entire family unit to a Buck game, and we've lost those demos like in a big way. So we are doing what's a real challenging thing. We're trying to be everything to everybody, which is really challenging when you market a team. The good news is we live in surreal world. So this is pro sports. Nothing makes sense. We can really it's totally about little bit about your heart, little bit about your brain, and 3,000% about your heart. It makes you do irrational things. You're attached to a team you love. There's a loyalty that you can't express. Once you're attached, you're great. We've got to reattach a lot of the citizens of the state of Wisconsin to the team of the Milwaukee Bucks, to the brand, and have that pride of ownership and have that loyalty. And one of the big ways we do that is get your butts to a game because you'll see the difference. And part of that is like the core team. This is a different team. This is a fun team to watch. We are geared to win. And by the way, our objectives are to win a world championship, not to be a winning team. Those are two drastically different things to get done. We're on a little bit of a journey. We don't want it to be that long of a journey, but we need to show progress. And we know we've got this window where we're going into a new arena where we can really create something special. And we can really bridge this old, antiquated Bradley Center into a state-of-the-art new arena with a rabid fan base in the state of Wisconsin and really become that sense of pride. I'll end with the boring stuff. I'm a New York City kid. Married a girl I went to high school with. I have a 13-year-old boy who is the happiest guy in the world because he's the assistant to the assistant general manager of the Milwaukee Bucks. At least he thinks he does. When you have a direct line to the general manager, which is a little scary, it's pretty much fantasy. I have a 15-year-old daughter. We are a boy getting used to the Midwest as well as we can. It's an interesting acclimation. I tell everybody it is the nicest place in the whole world. Like when people really reach out to you and they say, "How can I help you? What can I do?" and they actually mean it. I got to tell you, that takes getting used to. That just doesn't happen too often. But this is fantasy world. We've been given a magic wand. We can actually recreate a sports professional brand in one of the greatest states in the country who is rabid about sports. We're so excited about it. We're dying to get the sampling and to get groups like this to really re-embrace what we're about. And we're going to win, so this will be very exciting. It's so important for us to have these opportunities. Our Bucks team here, we appreciate it so much. I'm willing to answer any questions, whether it be about the team, the coaches, the owners, the development. Don't be shy. We're very direct and transparent, so we're happy to do it. I just really wanted to thank you for the time before I started answering questions, so thank you.
I'm Karen Kendrick Hands. Welcome to Madison. Welcome to Wisconsin. We're really very nice here.
No, you definitely are nice.
And because we're so nice, you're not going to punch me when I tell you I've never even considered going to a Bucks game.
No. I'm going to get medical. Somebody's crazy. Somebody's lost their senses.
But here's the challenge. If I go to Milwaukee, I want to drink the beer that made them famous and drive home or get home legally. What are you going to do to get us rail transit between here and the Bucks?
What a great roadie. Thank you very much. Yeah. We have to provide transportation options. There's not a question about it. For all ages, for school, for elderly, we have to do it. And we're forging partnerships with transportation companies. We're forging partnerships with the Ubers of the world to really do that. It's all very new in this world because it hasn't happened in the state before, but we get it. If we want people to come from a distance, we've got to help them get there and really make it accessible. So we're working on that. I am not working on a light rail system. Yeah. For the record.
Peter?
Yes.
Right here. Perhaps you can tell this lady about the game that takes place here in Madison on the 8th, and perhaps you could mention a little bit about the training camp that's going to happen here in Madison.
Yeah, so two ways you can capture your Bucks, because now I know you're a little bit passionate about it, and I know you're just playing shy, and you're excited to get around the Bucks. On October 8th, we have a game at the Kohl Center, a preseason game, which I'm happy. I'll give you my card. I'm happy to give you tickets to that game, because I'd like to see you there. And then we have preseason here all next week. With our partnership with the University of Wisconsin. We have some clinics, one today in Madison. We are spending a lot of time, a lot of investment, and a lot of strategic partnerships, over the last 12 months, and even more over time, in understanding Madison is an extremely valuable market for us for obvious reasons.
Right here. Well, I'm very happy that you're coming to Milwaukee with your new development. I happen to have the DoubleTree Hotel at 6th and Wisconsin in Milwaukee. So what I want to know, though, not counting the players, how many new jobs or how many jobs will you be providing, do you think, where a person doesn't have to have a college education? Because that's what we really need in Milwaukee, more jobs.
So it's a great question. So I'm going to throw up every job on you. We have 1,500 to 2,000 trade jobs, which are construction jobs in the next 3 to 5 years, which come up. On top of that, the Bucks front office has increased from 85 people to about 212 people. We'll probably go up to 300 people by the end of next summer. The operations of the arena, which takes about 150 full-time people, but takes about 1,000 part-time people. That will be up about 200 from the Bradley Center over time. So incrementally, you're talking after construction, you're talking about a full-time set of 400 to 600 full-time jobs kind of accredited. And that doesn't count other development. So we are looking to build and bring a national headquarters down to the Park East. We're looking to bring maybe competitor hotels. But there's big opportunity, and we've got to get investment there, and we're not dumb to the fact that the big key to this whole thing is populating the area. So you will see our announcements be a lot about bringing businesses down to this area to populate it. You will see a lot of this announcement being residents in this area and not as much retail and food and beverage focused until we kind of have that in place.
Hello, I'm Linda Baldwin. I don't know I've ever been to a Bucks game either, but that's okay.
Oh my God.
My question is, the state of Wisconsin has provided, I think, $250 million for this project. And so I'm asking what the citizens of the state of Wisconsin are going to see for their $250 million.
So, in direct correlation with the investment, the state, who it's between the state, the county, and the city have all contributed. The state obviously makes up an income tax. So income tax over a 10-year period is at a 4x development to what the investment is. So those are the real numbers. That's what happens if you keep a professional basketball team in the state. The salaries, the infrastructure, and the income generated off that team quadruples your investment over the time of the loan, which, by the way, all of us would sign up for privately if we could sign up for it as an investment. The city will benefit from the incremental increase of property values, which will happen as we build this area. So right now, again, I've told you, this area is no man's land in Milwaukee. It has no value. Overnight, this land is already starting to get value, which increases the tax assessments and increases revenue for the city of Milwaukee. So there is a direct correlation of increased revenue for all the contributors of the project.
Hi, Peter. Oh, back of the room here.
Have you been to a Bucks game?
I'm planning on going.
Oh, thank God.
For sure. I've got good friends with good seats, so I'll be there this year, for sure. Hi, I'm Julie. Peter, welcome to Rotary in Madison. So you say you live in a fantasy land, but yet you really don't. You're making a huge investment in the city of Milwaukee, which is a huge investment in our state, and I really appreciate that. And the changes you're making, I know will have a major secondary impact in Milwaukee. Yet, less than a year ago, one of your players tried to buy some jewelry in Whitefish Bay, and that jeweler shut the store down rather than wait on him. And you're playing in a city that recently has had extreme unrest, and by the numbers has some of the worst racial inequity in the United States. And your company, I am guessing, employs more people of color in more prominent positions than almost anyone else in the state of Wisconsin. So I'd like to know how you are coming out of that fantasy land and connecting with the community you're rooted in.
I was wondering where the question was going. I'm glad I did. So I think very, very bluntly, Milwaukee is the most segregated, racist place I've ever experienced in my life. I mean, it just is a place that is antiquated, is in desperate need of repair, and has happened for a long, long time. For people that it's segregated geographically, the neighborhoods are moated, literally physically moated. There's not a lot of integration. There's not a lot of inclusion. I think one of our messages and one of our goals is to lead by example. So we happen to be a professional sport that is predominantly played by African American males. How do we evolve these guys, our players, our staff, and everybody to be leaders in the message of inclusion, diversity, and leadership in the messages of, and I'll tell you our core tenets of the community, of wellness. And by the way, wellness in the state means all different things, but for us, it's really about proactive wellness. It's about screening. It's about basic health care. It's about how do we forge relationships and use our brand to promote that. It's about education. We have a public school system that is in a dismal state in Milwaukee, but we've wanted to focus on literacy and attendance in a very straight way. So I'll answer that question two ways. One is, we know we can't cure the world, but I can tell you what we do know is, like, we are very determined to get ourselves involved in programs that we can measure a difference in and put our claws into for a long period of time and show a difference. And that's on work development as well. So the three things we're really spending a lot of time on and using our players, using our staff, using our foundation's money is wellness education, and part of that is work development. How do we actually train workers to be able to go into the workforce, both on soft and hard skills, and sustain them like over time, because it's a big issue. But it's great. Listen, the social issues in Milwaukee are real, and we deal with them every day. So.
Hi, I'm Mary Crave. I have two questions. The first is, who has access to this medical facility that you talked about? You just alluded to the idea of wellness and so forth. Is that for people who are employed by the Bucks organization, or is it available to residents in the area? And the second question is, how does a top UW basketball team influence at all, if it does, the Bucks following?
Two great questions. One is to the public. One is how we serve the north side of Milwaukee, particularly if you're familiar with the Freighted Medical System. They've got a huge facility with Children's Hospital and the Medical College of Wisconsin in Wauwatosa. This is their move back into the city of Milwaukee and how to really service an underserviced neighborhood. So if you're familiar with the neighborhood, we're right on kind of the edge of the north side, which desperately needs this. So we're talking about not only the physical clinic space, but we're also talking about how do we mobilize it to, again, talk about transportation. How do we bring people there? And then you talked about, again, I'll go back to fantasy world now of basketball, which is so much fun. The University of Wisconsin's a big deal for us because I'll tell you, you grow up watching Hoosiers, Hoosiers is garbage. Hell with Indiana. Wisconsin should be the basketball state of the world. We've got an unbelievable high school system. We've got an unbelievable college system. You know, we're winners, we're passionate. Coach Guard is in, Alvarez is in, Coach Kidd is, I mean, we all talk about this together. Like, we've got a basketball culture that we just have to nurture. We've got to win on the pro side, and we start to work together. There's a big reason we came together and started to have camp, like at the Kohl Center, because we want to create a culture of basketball in this state. We're starting to do clinics and camps at every corner of this state to really kind of be in the fabric of everything. This is a basketball state, unbelievable basketball. So it's a great question, but I really think we should trump Indiana and really become, you know, the basketball state. Sorry, bad turn.
Peter, my name is Randy Banks, and I didn't want you to go back to Fantasyland with the wrong impression. There are many among us who get to 10, 12 Bucks games every season, and we're happy to do so. And it is true, there's a lot of people in the greater Madison area who do support the Bucks, and I want you to know that we're all looking forward to what's happening over there. And now that you've accepted my invitation on LinkedIn, I'm sure we'll become close personal friends. The question, it's not so much a question, could you review for us the timetable, the schedule of the new stadium?
Sure. Substantial completion in August of 18. Start doing events in September of 18. So think about a series of concerts and kind of shows that would probably open up the arena, and start the Bucks season in October of 18 to open it up. And then I say the arena because it'll be the last thing to open. You'll have the public plaza will be ready on that time. The parking structure, the practice facility, and the medical facility will all be open. So this is 24 months and a transformation of what a majority of this land downtown is. So we are cooking. If you've driven down by the Park East, you can kind of, steel is going to start coming up out of the ground next month. So this is a this is a project that is cooking.
Hi, my name's Martha, and I'm right here, over here. I want to thank you for your partnership with UW Athletics. I think that's important, not only to bring the Bucks to Madison, but also it gives our student athletes a chance to see what it is to do, what a professional basketball player does, how you act as a team, and I think that's really important. And I have been to a Bucks game, and more than one, so thank you for that too. One thing I wanted to say in response to the transportation question, and you were not in Wisconsin at that time 6 years ago when we had the opportunity to build rail service between Madison and Milwaukee, our state decided not to. So that was a real lost opportunity, because you would have come in with rail between here and Madison by that, Milwaukee and Madison by that time. I wanted to kind of follow up on Julie's question and ask for kind of specifically, what are the community activities that you think you will either have your players do or reach out to bring in youth in the Milwaukee community to the Bucks games, to different activities. If you have any specifics on that, if you don't, that's okay. But I really think, I know with my kids, being able to see, up close and personal, role models that they can really look up to is important. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, so I think one of the big changes are, we have lots of programs that roll up into a concentration of education and wellness, and part of that was the MPS. Part of the we've got Wisconsin, which is really important to be community oriented in all the communities of Wisconsin, as well as like a high concentration in Milwaukee. And Milwaukee, a great program, for example, is really thinking about what it means to bring kids to a game. And in the old school, like, teams used to just give out thousands of tickets in the worst seats in the house and say, hey, we're giving tickets back to do it. We've kind of taken that paradigm and ripped it apart and said we are going to do a few thousand kids and not only pay for their chaperones, but to have them bust and feed them at the games, which puts it into a whole different proposition. With our players, it's really about the touching points. So it's really about getting our players out twofold. One is to get them what they're interested in, because then they're vested and not just short-term interested. What are programs they actually care about? Jabari Parker cares about literacy, he goes on dozens of trips by himself to schools. He creates incentive programs. He wants to do events that are not televised. He is engaged in it. And how do we create programs around that just create, again, things we can measure improvement and growth on about the time. And then wellness is like just what you think it is. How can we drive screenings for prostate cancer? How can we drive, heart wellness and health? How can we drive dietary needs? And we've got so many interesting touch points. We happen to have a medical doctor and a dietitian and a nutritionist who can actually create video loops that can be broadcast in public schools as to the right things to eat and broadcast it with players in it, so it's actually cool. So there are lots of touch points. We've got Alicia Dupuis here who runs all of our community, our social awareness, and our foundation for us. We've gotten to get very serious about it. You can go on our website and really dig into the programs we're doing. So we're starting to invest heavily.
I have one more quick comment. As the microphone girl, Mary Ellen O'Brien, recently retired transportation consultant, but strong advocate for good transportation in Wisconsin. And one of the things that we're going to need desperately is a way to get our people there. And the Zoo Freeway and all of these projects that continue to get delayed, we're having a hard time getting people safely and efficiently to downtown Milwaukee. So I hope that your group, that the Milwaukee Bucks have and are having conversations with our governor and our legislature. We need to keep our transportation projects on target as well. Thank you.
I've got to be honest with you, I didn't know this was going to be as political a meeting as we thought. I'm usually, my first 6 months in Madison, I had to keep my mouth shut and pretend not to hear the question, and now I'm like, I don't want to publicly comment on transportation. But, okay.
All right, we have some
Pick two names? Sure. So the two winners, Matthew Darga. Matthew?
You must be present to win, right?
You must be present. Tina Choles.
Anybody, are they here?
Oh, we've got absenteeism.
Oh, boy.
Dan Olson.
Oh, he's there.
There you go.
Fantastic. Carrie Wall.
Carrie Wall.
All right.
There you go. A double winner today, a double winner.
All right.
Good, thanks.
Thank you so much, Peter. Let's give him another big round of applause. Thanks again for attending Rotary. Our meeting is adjourned.